Hello, thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Lane Conville-Canny. I'm with the Emory Alumni Association based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm excited to be with you in this new, very online normal for all of us. Now that we are all remote and working as much as we can from home, this is a great topic to freshen up on, get some new tips on how to online network in these remote days of working and looking ahead in your career development. I'm very excited to be joined by our presenter, Hallie Crawford. Hallie's been a certified career coach and national career expert for 19 years. Her company, HallieCrawford.com, and team of coaches have helped thousands of people worldwide identify and transition into their dream career, effectively navigate their job searches, and enhance their performance at work. She is regularly featured as a career expert in the media and sources such as U.S. News, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Fox Business, and more. To learn more about her services, please do visit HallieCrawford.com. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Hallie. And just a quick reminder, this is being recorded. So if for any reason you need to step away from your device, don't worry, we're going to send you the full recording within 48 hours. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please chat them in the question box of GoToWebinar, and I will ask them of Hallie after her presentation. Thanks, Hallie.
Thanks, Lane. Great intro. Really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. Obviously, these are really difficult times for everyone in varying ways. So we greatly appreciate your time, and we're trying to, provide more content and helpful resources to people to help you get through this working from home, job search, whatever it is. So we're going to be talking about several different things today related to LinkedIn, and we are doing video today as well, which is a little bit different. I'd like to do that more often, but especially because I think we all need some kind of FaceTime. I wanted to do that today as well. So as Lane said, I'm Hallie Crawford. I'm a certified career coach, speaker, and author. My company is actually based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm going to be, just so you know, I have dual screens here, so I'll be looking a little bit back and forth, just FYI. So I've been coaching and training for just over 19 years now. I turned 47 this year, a little bit more gray hair going on up there, and absolutely love what I do. And my team of coaches, we are here to help people through these difficult times, especially with resources and articles and all of that. So in addition to what we're going to be talking about today, I did want to mention to everyone, we are posting a lot more on our website, as I know Emory is doing as well, which is great. Articles about companies that are hiring, how to find remote work, and lots of different resources about how to effectively work from home as well. So please do follow us on our website here, on our career blog at the very top. You can subscribe to us here. We're posting a lot of really helpful information there. And also feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, because we are posting a lot there as well to help people through this tough time. And just really quickly, my background is undergraduate degree from Vanderbilt University and a graduate degree both in communications education from University of Illinois, and I'm certified as a career coach from the Coaches Training Institute. So we're going to be talking today, let's take a look at this next slide here, obviously about LinkedIn. And as we all know, it is a critical tool and resource for all of us for our professional development, and we all kind of know that already. Just by the way, we have found that LinkedIn is growing even more for professional branding purposes, and obviously during this time to help people, it's a really good resource to help you continue that networking that you need to do, get FaceTime with people, and we're going to give you some advice about kind of different ways to leverage LinkedIn during this time. And what we're all finding and hearing from our clients, understandably, is because of COVID-19, workers can just feel a lot more isolated. And so this is actually a good time to start networking with people even more, just in different ways, and connecting with people and building out your network. Job seekers, our clients that have lost their jobs or are trying to look for something new, they're uncertain how to handle their search during these times because they don't want to come across as being insensitive, like, should I still be networking with people and asking them for assistance or help with informational interviews because we're all having a tough time? And bottom line, the answer to that is yes, continue your job search as you would sort of normally. What we're telling people is that just kind of imagine that it's similar to during holiday time when people are a little bit more overwhelmed or out of the office a little bit more, whatever it is. Just be mindful and empathetic about what they may be going through, and mention that at the beginning of your request or your introduction. But do go ahead and ask people if they have a few minutes or whatever. They can say, no, this isn't a good time, I need to wait, or whatever it is. But we are finding that our clients are getting interviews, by the way, and are still being contacted by recruiters. They're just doing online or video interviews instead. And sometimes the lead time is a little bit slower, like it would be during the holidays. So please continue your search if you are in job search mode. We just need to be mindful of what's going on for everyone else as well. And as part of what we're going to be talking about today, obviously, during this time when we're working from home, it can feel more difficult to maintain connections with your coworkers. And that sense of collaboration and belonging that we have, and what we enjoy as part of being part of a specific organization and a workforce, can start to fray a little bit. So those are all things we're going to be talking about today, is how to enhance that during this time and even beyond, because obviously this crisis and situation is going to change, how we work in a lot of ways that we don't even know right now in the long run. So I do believe that the advice we're going to be giving you today is not just during this time, but well beyond too. So here's our basic agenda, the 3 steps that we're going to talk about to help you leverage LinkedIn a little bit more during this time as well as beyond. We're going to talk a little bit about your profile, how to update and enhance that, making and maintaining those connections during this time so we still feel connected to others, and talking a little bit about sharing information on your feed as well as gathering information from other people too. And just really quickly, I know Lane said that we are going to be recording this, or we are, which is great. If any of you would like a copy of the presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Just email us at admin@halliecrawford.com. We would be happy to share that with you, just so you don't have to feel like you're frantically taking notes. I don't know about you all, but I'm a note taker, and so usually I'm like trying to write everything down, and this will make it a little bit easier for you. So feel free to ask for that. Happy to share. So as part of our 3 steps, this is a little bit of a gist of what we're going to be talking about today, and we'll get into our first poll here in just a minute. We want to talk about very briefly some basics with your profile, your profile picture, your brand, making sure that's all up to date and in the right space or in the right place, I should say. And, during this time, if you're working from home, this is a good time to kind of update those things. Talking about making new connections, sending and accepting requests, and how to ask your network for help during this time. We talked about that a little bit just a second ago too. And then finally, we'll talk about sharing information and gathering information as well. Participating in LinkedIn groups. This is one of the things I want people to pay attention to and start to leverage a little bit more, because now that we don't have the in-person groups at all for however long, LinkedIn groups, I predict they're going to get a nice bump from this crisis, and then sharing posts as well. So Lane, if you could we start this first poll? How many of you on the call today feel like you have what you would call at least a complete LinkedIn profile? And we'll give that just a minute here for the majority of you to answer, please, if you would. And we're going to be talking about today, obviously, how to make sure your profile is more complete and up to date. And Lane, if you could share those when you get them, that'd be great.
Yeah, we've got coming in pretty balanced right now. We'll give it just another couple of seconds.
Okay, cool.
That's really close. Okay, almost everyone voted, and we have 54% yes and 46% no.
Okay, good. About half and half. Thanks for sharing that, everybody. And Lane, thanks for sharing too. So for those of you who don't feel like it's totally complete, definitely pay attention to these next few slides here when we're going to be talking about your profile, and we'll give you some resources to update and help with that. And those of you who feel like you do, pay close attention to the connections and LinkedIn groups, those ideas as well. And you may also get some ideas about things that you need to do to enhance your profile a little bit more. So given that so many more people, whether you're in job search mode and you're looking to be contacted by recruiters, or if you're not, if you're in sales, for example, and you need to kind of find a different way to establish connections with your clients and customers, or keep that connection with your coworkers, your profile is a really important way to do that, okay? And one of the things that I did just want to quickly share, and then we'll start to go through this slide, is that I conducted a workshop last year for salespeople in Texas who told me literally, and I just think this is becoming more and more true over time, they were in sales for financial services for construction, and they said basically that their prospective customers wouldn't even pick up the phone or talk with them until they had reviewed and looked at their LinkedIn profile. So they noticed that every time they reached out to someone, they would go to their LinkedIn profile first. So these are times when we really need to make sure that our profile is as friendly, warm, welcoming, and connected, if you will, or inviting connection as much as possible. So just a couple of stats here about how important it is to have a headshot and not just the blank, nothing, that little, gray head or whatever it is on your LinkedIn profile, how important that is, okay? Because people will view your profile more, you'll be asked to connect more, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really important. And one of the things too is check and make sure that your headshot also is professional looking. You might think that it is, but we've had clients come to us where, for example, one of our clients, his headshot is great and it's professional, but he's not smiling. It's not warm and inviting. And another client who had something where, his hand was underneath his chin and he was kind of looking sideways, not as professional. So double check your photo and make sure it's the way that it needs to be and professional looking. And one of the things we wanted to suggest is if you're in job search mode, or if you're in sales or in an industry or in a position that you need to make sure that you establish or keep that connection with your customers, for example, I would definitely consider adding a very short, quick video introduction of yourself in your About section on LinkedIn. You can include your elevator speech and just like a brief career history if you're in job search mode for prospective employers. And it would be just something where you would answer the question like during an interview, tell us a little bit about yourself, brief career history there. Or if you're in sales or want to create something to help establish or maintain, if you will, that connection with your customers, just a quick background about how you can help serve them during this time. I'm sure you all have seen a lot of memes and videos, et cetera, from different companies and organizations, and I would definitely consider doing something like this and adding it to your LinkedIn profile so that people can stay connected with you for whatever reason it is that you'd like to include that. Keep in mind that you want to make sure that it's similar to your headshot where it's a clean background, you're dressed professionally, everything else. So here are a couple of requirements on this next slide here. Make sure that it's close up too. We've had clients where their headshot is too far away from them. You want to have that clean background, make sure you smile, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing that we have found that too many people are not doing, it's kind of half and half when our clients first come to us for help with their LinkedIn profile. Some people still have that plain blue banner behind their head, and we want you to have an image now behind your head for that banner, and I'll show you an example on the next slide here. It can include your logo for your company or organization. It could be like a nature scene that is underneath that. You want to make sure it's not detracting from your photo, so if it's like a nature scene or something like that, make sure it's kind of light colored, or it could be something else relevant to your industry. So one of the things that we want you to absolutely do, to us, this is no excuses on this one. We want you behind your professional headshot to have an image that's relevant in some way, shape, or form to your industry, or it could be the skyline of Atlanta or wherever you're from. And we want it to have a banner on it as well, with text about who you are that helps brand and sells you. Okay, so if you take a look at this example here, she is in veterinary sales. She's got a great professional headshot, and she's got a branding statement here as well, in addition to what her job title is, so to speak. So let me clarify that. Her job title is not veterinary professional services leader. She's, I forget what it is exactly, but director of Southeast region for veterinary sales. But the point is that we created this banner for her to help brand and sell her. Even if you're not in job search mode, everybody, we want you to create something like this because it helps you stand out from the crowd with your customers and any other purposes that you need during this time, especially and beyond. In your About section, still talking about your profile, we want you to make sure that your About section has a branding statement and talks about who you are, represents the value that you consistently deliver to those people that you're serving, whether it's your clients, your customers, your employees, etc. And we have found lately too that the About section is supposed to be a little bit shorter. It's not quite as long as it might be on your resume. So our LinkedIn experts have told us that it's a little bit shorter. It's just kind of a teaser there with the value that you bring, as well as a short list of accomplishments is really good to put in your About section as well. That's bulleted, like 3 or 4 accomplishments. The other things that we wanted to reference, though, for you too, especially during this time, but even beyond, ensure that your contact information is included. So if we go back to this previous slide here for just a second, where it has your contact information, make sure that everything is in there. We find that for whatever reason, a lot of our clients have not put their phone number in when you click on this button. They just have their email, for example. You want to make sure that you add your phone number, especially during this time, so that people have a way to reach out to you, especially if you're working remotely and they need to contact you on your cell phone. Update that so that it's up to date and accurate for where you are now. Add your contact information inside of your About section as well, because again, people may get a little bit confused about where they can find us. So put that at the bottom, your email address, best number to reach you, et cetera, literally at the bottom of your About section too. For job search people, add a link to your resume as a link inside of this section. Gives them more information about you and a way to download that using Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever works best. And by the way, for your signature line in your email, let coworkers, employers, anyone else, clients, customers, this is where you can reach me now in the signature line of your email, okay, so that they know how to get in touch with you, because again, people can get confused, especially during this time. And by the way, too, we like to have all of our clients, especially when they're in job search mode, have their professional headshot inside of their email signature line that is standard when it goes out, and also have a link to your LinkedIn profile in your signature line as well. You want to make sure you have both of those things, just as another way that people can reach out to you and read more about you. Okay, and then finally, as you're finalizing your LinkedIn profile, especially for job search people, okay, you want to make sure that you use relevant keywords to your industry and optimize, SEO optimize your header and your skills and About section as well, so that prospective recruiters and employers can find you. We want you to have recommendations. A lot of our clients still don't, when they first come to us, they don't have either any recommendations or enough of them. We'd ideally like you to work towards getting recommendations for your work. And this could be a good time to do that when more people are working from home and they may have a few extra minutes to do that. Again, it depends on the person, but make sure that you get those recommendations. And finally, if you're in job search mode, again, go through your settings and make sure, and I would say this goes for everyone actually too, but go through your settings under your account profile and make sure they're set in a way that you want them to be so that people can view changes that you make to your profile. If you want prospective employers to see that, if you're unemployed and in job search mode, for example, or if you are just want to be seen in front of your audience to stay connected with people a little bit more since you're working from home, staying connected with customers that you don't get to meet in person, let them know that you're making updates so that you'll be visible to them regularly. And one of the things for job seekers specifically, though, that I did want to mention is that in your settings to make sure you have that box checked that you want to be viewed by employers and recruiters, that you're open to new opportunities, okay? So basically, this last one on the slide here is make sure that you go through your account settings because you may want to change those given what's going on these days in the world, okay, so that you're more visible in whatever way, shape, or form you need to be. In terms of your profile, to get help with that SEO and everything else, because that's very specific to what you need to update your profile for and for you as a candidate if you're in job search mode, I did want to offer everyone, because I know times are kind of tough, a discount on our LinkedIn and resume packages, $25 off. Just email us at admin@halliecrawford.com. We would be happy to help you with any of those services just to get more specific with what your situation is. And just wanted to remind you, this SEO optimized header, the custom about section with SEO in there too, and the skills section being SEO optimized is really, really important. And this is where our LinkedIn experts come in very, very handy because they will do that for you so that you will get contacted by recruiters and by employers because they will find you right away. So feel free to take advantage of this discount. Just email us at admin@halliecrawford.com and we can chat with you further about any of these packages. They are listed on our website as well, just by the way. Okay. So in terms of our second step here and making connections, and not just during this time, but even, well beyond, this is in some ways a good time to start expanding your network slowly but surely. And as I said before, just being mindful of the industry that the person is in, that you're looking to connect with, where they're located, within the world and within the country, and just being mindful of they may not be able to get back with you right away or talk right away, and obviously being understanding about that. But we do recommend that you expand your network during this time, especially online through LinkedIn, and to start with people that you know. So for example, we'll start at the bottom of this list here on the slide. Any friends, family members, or friends of friends that you're not connected with, go ahead and reach out to them. And it's a good time to just let them know, hey, how are you doing? How are things going there? And is there anything that I can do to help you during this time? We are having our clients who are in job search mode, when they're reaching out to or applying for jobs, to add to that application to say, look, is there anything I can do to help you during this difficult time? I'd be happy to pitch in, to give them a little bit of extra assistance or support. And hey, it could help you kind of get your foot in the door. Connect with coworkers in past and in your present job. Is there any way I can pitch in and help you during this difficult time as well? And then this is a great time also, or I should say, with university alumni, the alumni network through Emory, whether it's online, and Lane, if you could remind me, I couldn't remember, do you all leverage mostly for alumni networking? Do you all leverage your LinkedIn group the most? Or do you have one that's offline as well, housed on the website?
We use our LinkedIn Emory Alumni Association group as well as Emory Connects. They're both really great sources and people use them, simultaneously.
Okay, good. So thanks for sharing that. So definitely want to leverage that university alumni network. And Lane did not pay me to say this. We say this to all of our clients. This is a good time when you can leverage that network as well. And again, reaching out to them to ask for assistance, job search advice, anything else, but offering up help and assistance to them too. branch out to those people to make these new connections to people that you would like to know. Make sure, obviously, that they're reputable, but kind of thought leaders within your industry. Start to follow them on LinkedIn, because we have found that a ton of employers, thought leaders, celebrities within your industry, people who are well known, they really are trying to reach out and provide help and assistance to people just like we are. So I would find them on LinkedIn and start to follow them so that their articles and posts pop up in your feed, just like they do kind of with Facebook, because you're going to get some good information and advice from those people as well. Don't limit yourself to just your industry. So people that are within industries or roles that you're interested in long term, or different organizations, even from your competition, to learn from what they're doing during this time, that can be really useful. And then finally, we referenced LinkedIn groups just a few minutes ago. One of the things that we wanted to suggest too is go out there now and identify LinkedIn groups that you would like to join. Check out ones that are active, that have more members and, are more active kind of in terms of postings. So if you take a look at this next slide, start with industry specific groups that are useful to your industry, because people are asking questions more on LinkedIn now more than ever, giving job seekers advice, et cetera, et cetera. You want to check out those groups that are a little bit more active, and note those people who are active or more active within these groups and ask to connect with them. Even before this time, we have had clients identify and establish really good connections with people through LinkedIn groups that they, had as a very solid networking connection long term. So those people who are really active and seem to be willing and open to helping people and chatting with them, go ahead and connect with them one-on-one on LinkedIn, and even ask them if they've got a few minutes to chat if you feel like you need some advice. We also recommend doing some kind of informal video coffee chats with coworkers that you feel like you need to solidify or maintain that connection with, because you're starting to feel a little bit out of sorts, for example, or isolated. And this could be a coffee chat with people that you'd like to connect with. Conducting informational interviews with these new connections, it's totally okay to still do that now, but we would recommend, offer to do it or suggest doing it over video so that you can establish that connection a little bit more strongly. Check in more regularly with your coworkers and employees than you normally would otherwise, just because, again, people can feel isolated, and we want you to provide and realize that you may need to provide a little bit more context to the tasks or projects that you're working on to help them understand kind of what's going on. But also, even just doing this informal like coffee chat, it doesn't always have to be like we have this, agenda we have to follow and all of that. One of the things I have found with my son, especially being home from school, at first he was like, yay, home from school. It's kind of like summer break. But a lot of us are really missing that social kind of water cooler chat, so to speak, that we used to have going into the office. I know my neighbor is that way with his team. He's having a hard time because he likes that hands-on interaction with his team at Cardlytics here in Atlanta. So sign up for or leverage Zoom, Google Hangouts, WebEx. We know that some of our clients have signed up for free conference lines because cell phones are kind of spotty. And I know like WebEx and some other organizations, sometimes they're actually saying don't use the video if you don't have to because the system's being stressed. So Uber has, it's not actually Uber, the car service, but Uber has a good free conference line. Look up freeconferencecalling.com. Lots of different conference calls that you may need to be leveraging if your cell phone isn't working as much. One of our clients signed up for the Uber option because he has found that his cell phone is just not as good, and we actually can't conduct our coaching calls as effectively with him that way. So we're using call-in systems. So just some kind of technology advice there as well. But definitely join those LinkedIn groups, everybody, to get that networking going just in a different way. And then the cool thing is, obviously, if these people, if any of them are local to you, then you can meet with them in person afterwards. So in terms of continuing with making connections, remember that if you are wanting to reach out to a second or third connection, first ask that first connection contact to make that introduction. That's definitely a better way to do things. And always make sure to, just as a reminder, always include a note inside that invitation when you're reaching out to someone. Don't just use that standard template. That's not as good. You want it to be personalized every single time, unless for some reason you know the person really well and you can get away without it. But let them know why you want to connect with them. And we'll give you a quick example of how to reach out to colder connections on the next slide here. But we wanted to just do a quick poll. Hopefully most people know to include this personal message, but how many of you already include a note inside this invitation to connect on LinkedIn? So Lane, thanks for opening that up. And I'm actually, as you're doing this poll, I'm going to pull up our next slide so that you can get some ideas about how to do this, because I realize too that some of you may feel like, I don't want to be saying the same thing over and over, and I want a little bit of variety about how to stay in touch with someone over time if I want to check in with them, for example, once a month. So if you could go ahead and fill that, that'd be great. Good.
We've got almost everyone voting. Looks like we're right about 60-40. Yes.
Okay. Good. 60% in the right direction, hopefully.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, good. So thank you for sharing that, everybody. And Liam, thanks for sharing those results too. So remember too, and I don't think LinkedIn has changed this, by the way, but with your phone, everybody, you usually do not, at least last time I checked, if you're sending a connection request through the app on your phone, usually, or at least, like I said, last time I checked, you cannot put in a detailed message. It just sends the connection request without giving you the option to put a note in there. So when you're wanting to do this, in a better way, so to speak, do it on your computer. That's a little bit better, and just be mindful of that with the app. And here are some examples of what you could say. Obviously, during this time, just checking in with people. Is there any way I can help you? How are things going? I wanted to send you this article because I thought it might be useful. Here are some examples on the slide here of how you can stay in touch with people on a more regular basis over time, and other things that you can say to them so that it doesn't feel like you're saying the same thing over and over, okay? Next, when we take a look at this next slide, this is a good time to keep up with your network a little bit more. What I have found is when we're going to an office and, we're talking with people day to day and all of that, just regular networking kind of slides to the back burner. It does with me too. I'm guilty of this as well. So this is a time when we can get better at and incorporate into our regular schedule networking on a consistent basis and keeping up with our network. We need to do it now in a different way because we're all remote. So this is the time to leverage LinkedIn to do that. Put out there and give people kudos on any professional achievements. So LinkedIn has those notifications for professional achievements. Go ahead and share what's going on with you work-wise, a little bit more than you would have otherwise. Use those. Make sure that you check and respond to your messages on LinkedIn more frequently than you have otherwise, at least on a weekly basis. Create those new connections, join groups, and participate in them. So what we find is the other thing people are trying to figure out too is like, how do I set a schedule for myself during the course of my week? So as part of setting your schedule with your kids, for yourself and everything else, put LinkedIn networking as a twice a week thing that you're going to do for like 15 or 20 minutes on Tuesday and Thursday, whatever it is, to check your messages, but also post an update, read through your feed, share an article with people that could be useful to them, write recommendations for other people that have started to write ones for you or that haven't yet, but take some time to do that just to help people, especially people you care about with their job search. Get a recommendation out there with them if you know that especially they're struggling, and they need help with their job search. Make this networking piece a part of your weekly schedule that you've created for yourself now that we're all kind of having to create a schedule from this working from home situation or working remotely, okay? how to ask for help when you're making these connections or with existing connections. You want to make sure that you balance connecting with people and not asking for too much and offering to help them in return. Obviously, you want to ask for reasonable things. Don't ask them to revise or rewrite your resume. But if you want to ask them, hey, could you give me, any feedback you have on my summary section in my resume, for example? Keep it short and sweet. Make it convenient for them and easy for them to do so, okay? Give them times up front that you can talk with them in the next few weeks. You sign up for the video call, option to make it easy for them. Don't force them to work that out. Be available to help them. Share articles and information with them as well. And if you are in job search mode, ask for information and time over the phone with them that you just want to ask them for some quick advice, not for a job. Remember that networking is a two-way street and it needs to go both ways, obviously, okay? Sharing information with your network is our third step here, and then we'll start to get to Q&A here in just a moment. Writing articles. Now, here's the deal. We don't want you to feel like you have to write a novel every single week. I know that can feel overwhelming. But if you just share an article that you thought was fantastic and helpful about working from home, about how to connect with others on LinkedIn or job search tips, and just add some of your insights, things that you've heard from coworkers or fellow job seekers, etc. Share your insights there too. Any creative ideas. Again, these things don't have to be long, but if you start to share more information than you have in the past, just once a week, that would be really useful. You'll get in front of your network a little bit more. People will keep you in mind for new projects, but also for job searching as well. Talk about what motivates you. Share inspirational, thoughts and videos during this time as well. Problem-solving advice. Remember that your articles should be concise and worth reading, not a bunch, just don't slap anything up there. Make sure that it's thoughtful and would be useful to your network. But by the way, even if you're not in job search mode, this is going to build credibility for you as a professional over time with your customers, with your employees, with your coworkers. So do that now, by the way, even if you're not in job search mode. And finally, as we talked a moment ago about participating in groups, do try to participate, provide valuable information, commit to participating or posting something at least once a week. It's a way to continue to expand your network, as we said. And let's do our third and last poll here, Lena, if we could. I am curious how many people currently belong to a group on LinkedIn. And I kind of want to add to that you participate regularly, but we'll just leave it as, I belong to a group on LinkedIn. And as we said, let's add this to your list of things that you want to be doing more frequently. Once a week, I think, is reasonable, making new connections there.
All right, we've got just about everyone voting.
Okay, good. And then we'll get
it out. We've got 65% yes, 35% no.
Okay, good. So more people than not do. That's awesome. So make sure that with the group and on your feed, like we said, and then we'll get to Q&A here in just 1 second, make sure that you're posting enough, but you also don't want it to be like every single hour. We think, for example, once or twice a week is plenty. Again, share things that are truly interesting, not just to your audience, but to you as well, so that you can have something good to say about it. And always don't just share something, write a few sentences about why you are sharing it, why you think it's helpful and useful. Okay, so if you all can go ahead and start to enter any questions that you have. I wanted to leave a few extra minutes today for Q&A, so I ended a little bit earlier than I normally do, because I know people may have some questions, especially during this time. If we don't, that's fine too. If any of you would like information about our coaching services, we are offering discounts, not just for Emory alumni, but for the majority of our clients as well too. But there is a very hefty alumni discount we provide to Emory alumni. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us about that. Just email us at admin@hollycrawford.com. I'd be happy to set up a time to chat with you. And as part of that, as you all are formulating your questions as well, If anyone needs a free career session to talk about anything we've discussed today or anything else that's going on for you, I'm happy to do that too. Just email us at admin@hollycrawford.com, same email address. So Lane, do we have any questions that have popped up yet? And if you could read those to me, that'd be great, because I never can see them and I'd have to put on my glasses and figure it out.
Absolutely. We got some great questions rolling in. And
Good.
as we are sharing these questions, if anyone has questions that you haven't typed into the question box, please do those and we'll ask those of Hallie. The first one is a 3-part question. Regarding the About section in your LinkedIn profile, what is a range of recommendations to post here? 2 to 3, 5 to 6? What would you recommend?
Recommendations, how many, like sentences?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would have like 3 to 4 sentences. And then also about 3 to 4 results-oriented accomplishments as a bulleted list underneath. Good question.
That question is, I think they're wanting a little more detail on the format as far as quotes about the person. Do you need your first name, your title, your relationship?
Oh, okay. So in the About section, so actually the recommendations section is at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile. So, and Lane, let me know if this is helping answer what they're asking. So there's actually a whole section at the bottom of your profile for recommendations instead. And I would look on other people's, like for example, look on our LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile to get some ideas of what people could say for you on your recommendations. But there's a whole section at the bottom of the LinkedIn profile. That's where you want to ask people for their recommendations and have them put them, not in the About section.
Perfect. And we'll share your profile with everyone who registered as well.
That would be great. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that.
Our next question is, what if you are in job search mode, but you're incognito? How do you let recruiters and others know you're open to new opportunities without your current employer becoming aware and retaliating?
Right. So you want to turn off your updates in your settings so that people aren't getting notified every time you're updating your profile. And then also, if you go into your account settings, so it's at the very top of your LinkedIn profile where it's, you click on your own profile, you go to the very top and there's a button for account settings, and you go under something that's called privacy and communication. I know it's privacy, and I think communication or connections. No, it's privacy and communication. You go under those settings. There's a specific button that says, if you click on it, I'm open to new opportunities and I want to be viewed by employers and recruiters. You turn that on, and that's how you let them know you're open to new opportunities without saying inside of your profile, literally, I'm looking for a new opportunity. That's how you do that. It's under your account and profile settings. Good question.
Gotcha. Our next question is, how would you recommend handling LinkedIn invitations from others who have not included and for which there isn't a clear reason why they should be connecting?
So there's a magic number these days, great question, of having 500 connections. So we are having our clients err on the side of working towards 500 connections and therefore accepting people that they don't know, or that they're not exactly sure why they're connecting with them. So we do think that that's okay once you get up to 500 connections. And then after that, you can be a little pickier. If they haven't indicated why they want to connect with you, but you feel on your end that it would be a good connection based on their profile and their background, it's okay to do so. So we would be pickier and choosier, so to speak, after that 500 number. But just, think about it for a minute. This isn't like some life or death thing. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be too picky about it, except I wouldn't connect with people that totally seem shady in some way, shape, or form. I would ignore those.
Great. And that's actually on the dovetails of this question that was posed earlier, that they've heard the experts claim everyone needs to have between 500 or 1,000 connections to seem more professional.
Yep.
Is that something that you agree
Yep.
with and we should try to achieve? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Definitely work towards that 500 minimum connections, and then you can be pickier and choosier after that.
Okay. And along those lines, if someone is needing more connections, how would you suggest they go about networking to find more connections?
um, University alumni group first. So those
Okay.
possible warm leads go to Emory first. And then you can start to go through second connections of those existing connections you have and see if there's some there. And again, when you write that personal note about why you'd like to connect with them, I'm in a fellow industry, I'd love to share advice or whatever it is, that will help you enhance that network and add to the list.
Okay. And it looks like we have our last question for the day. Someone is asking about developing their brand. How long do you recommend it to be? And if they're wanting to portray something a little outside of their job, do you think that's okay?
I do think it's okay. It is okay to portray it outside of your job as long as you're not concerned about your employer reading that and being suspicious. So you may want to kind of walk the line and do a little bit of both. And the branding statement, similar to the about statement in your LinkedIn profile, you want it to be like 3 or 4 sentences at the most. It should be kind of close to what your elevator speech is, which you could say, within 30 seconds to a minute, give or take.
Great. Thank you so much, Hallie. This has been incredibly helpful. And thank you for doing the video. I think that was a nice addition to see your face.
Yes, no problem. Happy to help. If anyone does have additional questions that we didn't get to or you think of later on, please don't hesitate to email us at admin@halliecrawford.com. And our contact information, website, and phone number is at the bottom as well. We'd be happy to answer those as well. Just send us an email.
Great. Thank you all so much for joining. We will be sending the recording within 48 hours, along with a great handout that Hallie's provided. And I'll also share her LinkedIn profile so you guys can use that as an example to follow and hopefully start scheduling some more LinkedIn networking in your schedule.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone. We'll all get through this together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay. Bye-bye, guys.